Okay, my friends, here it is. The Saturday morning live stream at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters, Zone 5/6, Northern Indiana. So, let me know where you're at, what you guys got growing. Let me know if this microphone is working. And, yes, so, all right, I was a little bit late because we were just finishing the audio on one of the course modules for the value video. Guys, it's totally crazy being on the other side of the whole content creation thing where you're actually paying to run ads. It's crazy. It's a whole new ball game. Still working with the algorithm, but in a whole new way. So glad we're learning all of this now so that in January when the Viking growing system comes out, it's going to be smooth sailing. Yeah, check these out, guys. Red Benaries, Benaries giant zinnias, gorgeous. The plant has, 25 of these or so on it right now. I mean, these things are just beautiful and they stay for a long time. If you guys don't have the zinnias, they stay for a long time on the vine, or I mean, in the vase. So you'll cut them and they'll be, 5 days, a week. It all just depends on when you cut them. Super beautiful crimson red, a vibrant color. I really like these a lot. So let us see who is here, guys, and what you guys are up to, what you got growing. Beck says, watching some football with friends later. I'm proudly taking homemade sourdough pull-apart bread with homegrown purple bumblebee, sun-dried tomatoes, jalapenos, and green onions. That sounds amazing. It's in the bread? Or what? Me and Camille are going to just get started with our endeavor of making sourdough. We really need to learn how to make the sourdough. My brother was making it for a long time, but now he's not so much making it. He claims that it's too difficult keeping the starter going, that the health of the starter is, he has to keep it going. So I don't know how that's going to be, but we'll see, because the only type of bread that I really like to eat occasionally is the sourdough, definitely. Yes, hello Pam, my friend, good to see you here. Says yes, I'm still listening to all the videos, love the testimony. You must be talking about the Viking cleanse. Viking girlfriend, Camille, we did like a 5, 6, 7 minute log of, each evening of her cleanse, her first ever cleanse. So and then I put that into the course as a bonus module. Boom, boom, boom. It's in the course. I'm really liking testimonials. I think when we do the gardening course here coming up, we're going to, I'm going to show you several different case examples. I mean, I'm going to show you the system, the Viking growing system, implemented in several different areas at several different scales, because a lot of people are like, well, I just have a home garden, a tiny little home garden. I just want to learn and stuff. Okay, no problem. Even if you just have a balcony, you can still apply it. Or if you want to put an acre under cultivation, I'll show you how to do it, because we're basically doing it. So yes, guys. So let us see here. Mom Computer, good to see you here. Didn't see you last week, I don't think. Stephanie Stevens, hello, my friend. Yes, Silver Sage, good to see you here. Scott Miller, haven't seen that name in a while. Hope you're doing all right. Teets, good to see you, my friend. Says, for the last 2 years, every Saturday, this live is the first thing that popped up on my feed. Nice. Yes, man, that's pretty much awesome. Yes, good to hear. Yeah, we pretty much don't miss. We pretty much don't miss. I am the kind of person that, listen, guys, I might have told you this before, but I never missed a day of school my entire life. When I was young, going to school, I had perfect attendance every single year until my senior year, halfway through, when I got expelled forever. Yeah, it's a huge story, guys. It was crazy. But anyways, so as you could imagine, that was a little bit crushing to a young boy at that time, but turned out to be the greatest blessing in life, didn't it? So yes, that is how, when I commit to something, I'm fully committed, 100%. Never missed a day of school. Yeah. Even on the rare occasions when I was tardy or something, or if I had to do something, I would get an excuse, and get it excused. because they would give me plaques. After about 6 years, they started giving me plaques every year. This kid, and I was in the newspaper, this kid never missed a day of school. What's wrong with him? Well, I just never really got sick, and I wanted to be at school, so. Yes. Stephanie Stevens says, one more Tahitian melon squash is appearing. I have 4 huge ones. They keep giving. Nice. Yes, the Tahitian melon squash. How many of you is this your first time growing them? Because we gave the seeds with the onion orders, and I've got lots of correspondence from people. Hey, Nate, so you didn't tell me that this melon squash was going to literally take over the entire garden and then climb through the fence, over the fence, and then through a little gateway and then into my neighbor's yard and then up his tree. So yeah, that's happening, guys. That's really something that has happened. But it all depends, if you just grow it in some moderate soil, give it moderate moisture and stuff. Sorry, my voice is already a little bit strained because I was up there recording for 2 hours. But if you just give it moderate stuff and you don't mulch really all that well, then it'll be a decent size. It'll be maybe 5-10 feet long, 10-15. I mean, it could be a good size. You'll get 2 or 3, maybe 4, decent sized little squash. But if you give it everything at once, meaning you make a mound in the way that I show you guys in my video, how to grow melons and watermelons, how to grow squash, to make the mound with the rich organic matter. That is what they want. Make that and give them plenty of space and full sun and lots of moisture, and those things will blow your mind. They'll literally get a stalk on them. The vine will be this thick, and it will just go like 35 feet along the ground, seriously. And there will be like 15 of them, and they'll be like this big around and like this long. I mean, absolutely enormous, 20-30 pounds. Just huge. That's what we did when we did the roof stout method for several years at the Temple Garden. We grew them like this, and all that I used was the roof stout method, and then I made mounds of pure horse manure, pure composted horse manure. Composted meaning I just let it sit. Horse manure, and I would make the mounds, about 3-4 feet wide and about a foot tall, give or take, and then plant the seeds directly in there. And it would compost more over the season, but that was the nutrients that they needed. And just a huge, massive, so good. Yeah, so good. So all those years ago, these are still the same seeds. So if you guys have seeds from our Tahitian melon squash, if you got them in the order of the onions last year, then you are growing the descendants of those exact ones. Yes. Which is kind of cool, isn't it? It's kind of cool. What's up, Sam Patsik? Good to see you here, my friend. Yes. So let's see here. Let's see. Silver Sage says, "Can I buy some Tahitian melon squash from someone here in the chat?" What, you didn't get? Tell me you got an order of the onions, right? And you got some in there, or what happened? What happened? Let's see. Whoa, Stephanie Stevens says, Tahisha, we created 3 arches, guide and route them up and down and plant it. Wow. See, my experience with growing them vertical is that they get, the fruit gets so big, they just tear the vine down. But if they hang, then they get perfectly straight. They're perfectly straight squash, a big old long neck on them. They just look like a butternut squash that's that big around and like that long, but it will tear the vine down, is my experience, unless you support it somehow, of course. Let's see. So, the Tahitian melon squash crossed with butternut. Monster squash. Yes, Val, I think that's kind of what it is. I think that might be what it is. Thank you. Mom Computer says, Nate, couldn't be on the live last week, but never miss watching every show and giving it a thumbs up even when there's a delay. Yes, nice. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Signal Law says, "Oh, cool. I also had a perfect record at school." Oh, wow. I've never met anyone that also had that. People would look at my grades and look sideways. You never missed a class? Sure. Yes. I had pretty good grades. I had real good grades up until I was in the Montessori program, in like an experimental new Montessori program. But then in ninth grade, which is the beginning of high school, I went into a huge public school, and was just totally like, whoa, the transition was so incredibly difficult to having exact timetables that you have to follow, and they just stuff you into these little molds more and more and more, where the Montessori program was all about finding what your particular value, your particular strengths are, and then fanning that flame. So I was like really good, top of the class in all in certain things, the things I was good at. But then, so it was like amazing, had full confidence and felt really intelligent. But then I was dumped into public school, and it was like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Everyone gets stuffed into the same exact curriculum, same exact everything. And it was just a huge transition. I was in honors classes and all of that, though. I was in the honors block, and I mean, I was really achieving. I wanted to be, well, for some time, I wanted to be a pilot. So I wanted to go to Annapolis, Maryland, the Air Force or the Naval Academy. And, to do that, Dick Lugar at the time was the senator, Indiana. And so I had to, write letters and stuff like that. And I was the captain of the wrestling team. It was great. And then all of it imploded, and I got expelled forever and arrested. It was amazing, guys. It was amazingly shocking to my young system. So, yeah, that's kind of what it is. Let's see. Okay, so Beck says, I bake the bread with some ingredients inside, but also slather more in between with butter and bake again. Starter stays in the fridge till the night before I bake, then feed, and it's ready in the AM. Yeah, so you can just kind of keep it in the fridge, right? You don't have to like constantly. I think he was using that as a cop-out. I don't think it was quite as difficult as he made it seem like. So, guys, one thing. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Well, there's all kinds of things I want to talk about. So, number one is that, man, 2 days ago, we had the best salmon I ever had in my life. I couldn't believe it. And salmon gets pretty good when you're in Northern California, and the salmon are running, and there's just so many salmon, it's unbelievable. So, but we didn't do it this way. It was mostly just salt and pepper, but we did it with this cedar plank, all right? And we did it indirect heat on the Weber charcoal, and did a glaze, guys. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I'm a bit of a connoisseur of all of this. So having it on this thing, now this is the same exact one. We just rinsed it off. You don't smell the slightest bit of fish. That's cedar. That's obviously why they use it for like saunas and stuff like that, because it's antimicrobial or anti-something. Because if this was any other kind of wood, it wouldn't even be able to be in the house. It would just reek of fish, the smell. But you can't smell anything on it. It's unbelievable. So that's pretty cool. We're definitely using that again, because that was just so you can see the outline. Super delicious. And I even wrote down the, okay, so guys, here's the glaze we used. All right, I'm telling you, you want to make this, okay? 3 tablespoons pure maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of the soy sauce, 1 tablespoon olive oil, 1 teaspoon of the homemade fermented Dijon mustard. Any Dijon would probably be fine though. 1 clove of garlic, and now it was a huge clove of Viking garlic, and I microplaned it. Microplaning totally changes the flavor profile, makes it so much more in your face and amazing. Don't just mince it. You want to get a microplaner. You really do, for certain things. And then a half of a teaspoon, maybe even a full teaspoon maybe even a tablespoon actually, of the freshly microplaned ginger right out of the garden. We just went, busted one of them off, the ginger, and then a little bit of the lime juice of maybe one whole lime. And we slathered that on there. So we put the salmon onto these boards, and then we I put crunchy sea salt on top, and then slathered that stuff on there, and then put it in direct heat with the lid on for about 15 minutes, and then slathered more of that stuff on there, put it back on for about another 5 minutes or so. Remove that thing, and it was just like about this thick. You just falls apart. Unbelievably good. Wild sockeye salmon from Costco. Not the farmed salmon, never. It was unbelievable. The juiciest, it just tasted like smoke, and the soy glaze. Oh my goodness. Me, Camille, and Tegan were just like, we just couldn't believe it, how good it was. And so, yeah, it was amazing, guys. It was like 2.5 pounds, and mostly me, but all three of us ate it. So amazing. Can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah, Mom Computer. Yeah, that's because public school is nothing more than an indoctrination system where you're taught to memorize, not to use your own brain. Yes, it's true, guys. It's actually very much true. They squash creativity. They squash free thought. They want to make things like writing a punishment. You get punished. You have to write you have to write an essay for punishment. It knocks that out of you, that desire. It's crazy. Only after the fact, years later, do I even understand all of that. At the time, I thought that to be successful, you have to achieve better grades and learn these things. And now I know that there's no correlation. I never used any of the things that high school tried to teach me, except for the lessons that I learned, as an individual. That's what carried, but none of the math and all this. Just fill your head with useless knowledge. Anyways, okay. Abu Yaqub. I don't know if I recognize that name. Yes, good to see you here, my friend. Let's see here. B. Hendricks says, have you ever entered one of your fruits into the Indiana State Fair or the Allen County State Fair? No, I've never done any of that because, kind of like those plants with the school contest, we just let them have it. We're just going to go ahead and let them school moms have their day. We don't need to crush their spirits and all of that. So we're just going to not even enter our stuff because why bother? We know the truth. And so the state fair is, yeah, I just let them have it. But guys, one thing we could enter, you should see this cabbage. It is unreal. The leaves on the cabbage, I'm telling you, they're this big. That's not an exaggeration. The huge leaves like this big. The head is, it's not dense yet, but it's forming. It's this big. It just is like, what? It's unbelievable. Although the Viking nutrients, I really loaded everything up with the Viking nutrients this year. And so it's like maximum, things are doing a little weird, when they're just like a little bit too rich. Like the bok choy is just getting so huge and thick, and we keep picking off the bok choy. We making stir-fried bok choy, but we've got bok choy now that are like this thick around and like 30 leaves on it and more just coming out of the top. And it's just like falling over because it's so heavy with leaves and stuff. And stems, so which are good. You eat the stems, of course. But so there's definitely, and we've got these Chinese cabbages out there, guys, that are like this tall and just like about this wide. Biggest ones I've ever grown by far. So it's them nutrients, them drip lines, the light cultivation, it's the whole system. It's the whole system. Yes. Yes, definitely rewind and copy that recipe. Well worth it. Yep. Yes, Big Will Dog agrees. Says smoking salmon on the smoker slash grill. Yes, I do it that way all the time. That's wonderful. I know. Let's see. Big West says, does anyone know how much Epsom salt to dilute in water for spraying, or is it only a soil prep? And how much ratio to water for any use? It depends on the usage. So if we're doing on the soil, we can do a tablespoon a gallon, and we can water that in. You can also just kind of sprinkle it around, but a tablespoon a gallon to correct deficiencies. Now, foliarly, we do roughly 5 mils, so a teaspoon a gallon of the Epsom salt, and we can spray the entire plant. That will not burn it. It will be fine. That will not burn it. It will be fine. Soil prep is good, but the Epsom salt actually is a saline laxative. And so it actually, the way that it's, without getting too deep into it, the way that its ions are, the way that they interact is it actually releases things. And so it can displace and release things. And so that's why back in the day, when we were in Northern California, we would flush the plants with a solution of Epsom salt and water, and that would flush. Contrary to what it seems like, it's a salt. How are you flushing salts out with more salt? We just call them salts, of course, but the magnesium sulfate, we would use Epsom salts, make a huge batch. I would mix it in the 500-gallon tanks and then just flood the plants and flush them out. And that would totally reset the pH and the EC, the parts per million, of the runoff. That would totally reset it. Way better than just plain water can. So if you guys are in that world, if you're doing that thing, flush with Epsom salt water. It's the best by far. Gets everything out of there. Taylor Reindl, $50, my friend. Thank you very much for the contribution. Let's see, missed the past few lives, and we'll cut this one shorter. Oh, Thunderbirds air show starting soon. Oh man, you're in for a good time. The Thunderbirds were here just a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, I guess now. It was amazing. My brother, who's an air traffic controller at the airport, he let us up in the tower. It was awesome. So we watched the air show from like 150 feet. I think the one here in Fort Wayne is like 200 feet. Don't quote me, but it's really tall. Apparently, for a tower, it's really tall. So the runway is actually really big as well. So yes, it was just amazing. We watched it from the tower, and so yeah, it was really cool. You know how they do that sneak pass? How, because it's a show designed for the audience down there, and so we were actually watching it from like behind. So when they do that sneak pass, where four of them are flying real slow, like this, and then they got the one guy coming from behind, turns on the afterburners, and everyone, whoa, like that. It didn't have the same effect on us because we could see it coming, but it's still amazing how they go way out till you can barely see it, and then just amazing. It was awesome. Buzzed right by the tower. So yeah, you're gonna have a good experience. Colorblind Gardener 22 says, do you have any Viking garlic for sale? Recommendations? If not this year. Next year we will. Next year we probably will, unless a catastrophe happens like what happened with the onions this year. And voles ate 90% of the crop, unbeknownst to us, completely unknown to us. It was terrible. By the time we realized what, we're like, nothing's coming up. What's going on? And so we went to look, and I stick my hands under the mulch and just right into huge tunnel ways, and then just another right into big tunnel. Just terrible, terrible. So that's not what you want. But I have yet to have anything really eat garlic. I mean, most of the things don't like the garlic. So here's what I would recommend as a second place. Okay, it's not nearly as good as the Viking garlic, but it's a reasonable, the best alternative that I've found, and I've tried so many different kinds. And no, I'm not sponsored by them. They don't even know me. But go to ufseeds.com, Urban Farmer Seeds, different than the Urban Farmer podcast that who we all know. Go to ufseeds.com and get their Turkish red. That's a good garlic. And you already know that I'm all about garlic. We use it for literally every meal. Well, I don't know about literally, but we use it for almost every meal. Pretty much every day eating garlic and onions, but always garlic. So, and I've tried so many different varieties. Now, there's many different parameters that the garlic has to meet. Number one is it has to store all winter. It has to have good storage capability. Number two is that it has to be easy to peel. And number three is that it has to be, well, kind of like number two, but is that it has to be big cloves. So I want bigger but fewer cloves. Yeah, not like the California garlic that you get from Costco. It's got like 25 little tiny pieces in it like that you got to peel each one. That stuff's a joke. The best way is to get either the Viking or the Turkish red, and those would be 4 or 5 cloves, big ones. Yeah, awesome. Carl Franklin says, have you ever carved your fruit and vegetables? I have not. No, I have not carved them, but I know what you're talking about. And I've just not gotten into that. I don't really have the time for it. I could appreciate if someone does, though. Definitely. Let's see here. Yeah, RL says, dropped out in the 11th grade. No one ever asked for my diploma. Master Auto Tech, now CNC machinist. Yeah, exactly. And that's what they don't want you to know or to realize. No one has ever asked for my diploma in any way whatsoever. Nobody's ever asked, so how much, calculus can you do? Well, how much general relativity, blah, 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 blah. How much? Nobody cares. Can you do the job? Can you learn? That's the main thing. Can you learn? Are you teachable? Or do you think you know everything already and you're unteachable? So, yeah, I mean, in my day, the whole thing was you got to go to college if you want your life to be anything. If you want to be anything other than a failure, you got to go to college. And so all of my peers, not all, but many of my peers did that. They went to college. Well, who cares about the $120,000 student loan debt? Doesn't matter. It's going to be worth it. It'll pay off in the long run. Well, okay. Many of them are still shackled with that debt. Still, 20 years later, are still paying off student loans. And then come to find out they didn't really, that whole promise just kind of evaporated, especially now with technology. Especially now with technology. There's no longer, well, you have to have a degree. Why? This is my personal philosophy, okay? I'm not saying it's for everyone. My personal philosophy for me is I don't need to show anyone a degree or a certification because that means I'm working for them and I'm not trying to do that. So I'm trying to do my own thing, and I don't need no certification or blah, blah, blah. So with all the technology and stuff now, you can just do your own thing, you know? I know lots of guys making way more money than people with college degrees, and they didn't do any kind of schooling. They're just creative. They just use the tools of the day. Yeah. And they have that fire. That's the main thing. They have the drive. The drive is everything. Without that, none of the other stuff even matters. But if you have that drive, you can't be stopped. It's just a matter of time. I'm not even going to read that, but that's pretty funny. Big Will Dog. Pretty funny. Okay. Yeah, VA Green, I've heard that too. I love doing blackened salmon on the grill, but I guess it's bad for you. You mean the blackening, or are you using some kind of blackening spice with MSG or any of the precursors or the other compounds of MSG? In that case, the spice would be bad, but the blackening process, you know how many times I've heard that? But that, oh, you don't want to eat anything with a char because it's got carcinogenic stuff in it, and you don't want any of that char, any of that cooked stuff. I'm like, guys, okay, so how many eons of time have human beings been eating charred meat over fire? For a very, very, very long time. And I can assure you they were healthier as a general population than Americans are now. So I don't want to, you have to you have to question that. You have to go, is it really bad for you though? But like I always say, we're to the point, guys, look, I'm going to go through all this stuff here and tell you everything about it. But we're to the point now where with the internet and stuff, you can just, whatever your opinion is, it doesn't matter. You can confirm it with facts and charts and peer-reviewed research and graphs. Even if you hold the exact polar opposite opinion, you can confirm it with charts and graphs and peer-reviewed research and articles and blah, blah, blah. So it kind of is like you just have to go use your own reasoning. You have to use your own reasoning. What is that guy, Dr. Anthony Chaffee or whatever it is, that made his name? Vegetables are trying to kill you. You see, they've got plant defense compounds and anti-nutrients. But the more that you go, so it sounds plausible. Well, plants don't want to be eaten. Sounds plausible, of course. Yeah, so I could go in on that so far. I've done so much critical thinking with that and research with that over the past couple of years, especially, that when you dive deeper and deeper and deeper, the whole thing just falls apart. It just falls apart. And the humans are meant to thrive on a huge diversity of food in its natural state. That's the only thing that really matters, is that it's in its natural state or as close as possible. It's not man-made chemicals and ultra processing and things of this nature and stuff we would never find in nature or even recognize, in nature. If you're cooking with whole ingredients in as close to their natural state as possible, then you're going to be just fine. So, Lisa Hunter, this is a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. Says, hey, aspiring flower farmer here in zone 6/7. Wanted to confirm I can start green manure in October with clover. So, zone 6/7, where exactly is that? When is your first frost? Because we haven't even planted our clover cover crops yet. We're going to this upcoming week. But, you see, guys, with this here, we can grow basically 3 years. Or it depends on the size of your crop, all right, or of your area. But let us say that we just have a normal, 50 by 100, good size food security garden. This will last you several seasons, okay, for $100 worth of seed. And that's all the fertilizer that you will need. If you do green manure properly, as I show you how to do in the courses, then that's all that you will need. It's green manure, really. And so this is the crimson clover. Now, we love the crimson clover, but this year we're going to mix it with the winter rye. So this is like a 25-pound bag. I think it's like maybe 90 or $100, something like that. And it's only because we got it from True Leaf Market. If you get it from, like, when we went down south, when I was going down and doing the consulting with our friends now in Tennessee, he was getting these 50-pound bags for, might have been about the same price actually, but they were from Dixieland Seed Company. I forget exactly. They were big though. They were bigger than this, much bigger than this. Yeah. Yeah, he was getting 50-pound bags for $100. These are 25-pound bags for $100. And so Dixieland Seed Company, if you're close, I mean, he picked them up. They don't ship, I guess. I don't know. But it worked really good. So, but here we just order it from True Leaf Market, and we are going to plant it real soon. Now, if you're in doubt at all, the thing about green manures is that you want certain plants that have the nitrogen, yes, but you also want straight up biomass. You want straight up biomass. And for that, there's nothing finer than winter rye. Huge biomass. Winter wheat can also, they're kind of interchangeable, although rye will get bigger. I mean, I've had fields of rye by May get 5-6 feet tall, you know, and then you mow it down and incorporate it. So the and winter rye is extraordinarily hardy. You can plant that well after frost, and it will still sprout. So long as there's some days above freezing, it will still sprout, and it will overwinter. It's amazingly hardy. Crimson clover, we're approaching, you know, we need to do it. We need to get on with it this upcoming week. But we're going to do a mixture. So I go over all that stuff in the courses. But just wanted to explain that to you. So yes, you definitely can. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Carl, that sounds wonderful. I mean, I definitely would. You know, I definitely would, but no, I've not. Have you ever given a talk at the Heirloom Seed Exposition by Baker Creek Rare Seeds? Their harvest festival is the first week in October in Mansfield, Missouri. I would love to meet you. Yes, that would be cool. No, I have never got the invite, and I've never pushed it. I've never said, "Hey guys, you know." So, but you know, I definitely would, no doubt, if they wanted. So, yeah, because I push. I mean, I should be sponsored by Baker Creek. You know, they don't do sponsorships supposedly, but I promote them constantly because I believe in. I use their stuff, and it's amazing. Good genetics. You get lots of seeds for the money. Shipping is fast. I've never had any issues at all. I would have to check with them about that. I don't know. Nice. Shawnee Grow says, here in Minnesota, this fall garden is doing well. Summer garden is ripening and seed saving has begun. I have 150 flower bulbs to plant next. Ooh, yeah. What kind of flowers? Signal Law says, my Turkish red is coming. Did you just order it right now? It's well worth it. Yeah, you'll like it. Yes, Abu Yaqub, again, I appreciate you. Is it all right if I call myself one of your students? Absolutely. Whatever you like. Whatever you like, my friend. You can call yourself one of the tribe's members. You definitely can once the courses come out, though, the gardening courses, because you will get all kinds of new useful knowledge on that. Mm-hmm. Keith Scott says, have you grown fava beans? Please share any tips. You know, I tried a couple of years and it just gets too hot here for them to be really good. The plants just don't like the heat and humidity. You know, they grow fava beans. Fava beans are primarily really more for places that can't grow like other types of beans because it's not hot enough. So the fava beans would be more like a runner bean, or also the so in like cooler places, Pacific Northwest, England, you know, those kind of UK, those kind of places grow fava beans a lot more. Uh, Now I did grow a type of lima bean back here, and it did well. It was the only one that did really well, grew huge, tons of seed pods. Uh, and I was waiting for them to dry and harvest them. But I'm out in the garden one day. This is several years ago now. I'm out in the garden one day, and all of a sudden I hear, I was like, what? I was like, what is that sound? It sounded like birds, but I didn't see any birds. So I went back there by those lima beans, and I was looking, and all of a sudden I see one of the seed pods just, and all the seeds go, and then I was like, what? And I start looking at them, and the seed pods, one by one, not all at the same time, but every, there was a course of like a week where every one of them exploded and all the seeds fell on the ground and all over the place. And I was like, well, that's kind of useless. You know, obviously that is a mechanism by which they spread their seeds, though. Now, I don't think they all do. Well, there's no way they could all do that, because how would anyone harvest anything? But they didn't say that in the seed packet, So I was kind of taken back. I was like, well, this is useless. Now, I guess I could scrape them off the ground. Now, if I had the Viking growing system, I would be able to harvest them all. It wouldn't be a problem, actually. And it would be actually an advantage, because then I could just sweep them off of the landscaping fabric and use them that way. But when I was doing organic mulches, no way, forget about it. They fall into the crack of the straw and stuff like that. So it was like useless. But obviously, that's how they spread themselves in nature, one way, So several things. Now, there is, man, yeah, because I was just talking all morning on the upstairs with content. Whoops. So, guys, the green stalk, the strawberries turned out, once it cooled off, the strawberries started coming around. And we could get 4 or 5 of these every day from our 2 green stalks. I mean, 4 or 5 strawberries about every day. That's nice. You're not getting, these are everbearers, so you're not getting a huge flush of them. But Tegan loves them. She'll bring her friends over and they'll eat them and stuff. So they're actually really good. So that is nice, definitely. Growing strawberries in them is nice. So it's a nice dark red, luscious. Whoa. Man, that was a good one. With these Albion strawberries, some of them are insanely sweet and delicious. Very good. But I would say about half of them are just sort of watery. Even though they're super ripe, they're just sort of watery, I attribute part of that to the fact that they just get so hot in those green stalks. Everything just gets roasting hot in those green stalks. I mean, I'll see them hanging on the side of the thing, touching the plastic, and it's like I take the heat gun, it's 126 degrees, and just super baking hot. Still, they're surviving though, but I attribute that, if they were in actual straw in the ground, I think that they would all be super sweet. All right, 2 in a row. That was really good. For me, that's enough. Just, a few strawberries and stuff, really good. Good for the system. Really pleasant, like candy. I mean, just super good. Yes. Colorblind says, doing a one-time till. Can I add biochar in with the till? Absolutely. That's the time to do it. Add that biochar in there, definitely. Also, you can add things. It depends on your starting level of soil, but you can add things like perlite or peat moss or cocoa coir, definitely. Perlite will last a very long time. It will help to aerate the soil. It doesn't act the same as biochar, but it definitely, if you've got heavy clay soil, as you guys will see in the course, the one way that we amend it is with peat moss and perlite. and it really works good. And then the green manures. So yes, definitely add it now. Add anything else that you want now. Add, if you've got rock dust, azomite, if you've got any of those things, add that now is the time. Oh man, yeah, definitely. After going to the senior meeting where the parents and the seniors can ask questions about college, I have to say it looks like college is mostly for parents' egos. Unfortunately, so many things are for that. Because my son went to Duke or Yale, or my daughter is this and that. You see how good I am? Now, of course, the ego mind thinks that, to a degree. I mean, it's also wonderful. I mean, for some people, they'll be in that world. If you're going to be like in finance, or if you're going to be in some kind of computer thing, I don't know exactly what anymore now with AI and all the startups and people never even going to college. I mean, it's all kind of dismantling. But if you're going to be in that world, it can make sense to go to college. It makes sense to go to college if you have a specific thing you want to achieve. Like, okay, I'm going to get this degree and then I'm going to go here and use that to do this. Like, all right, all about it. Good for you. Do it, But if it's like, well, I got to pick something because we got to have a college degree. Otherwise, you don't amount to nothing. That could not be further from the truth anymore. I went to college for several years while I was working at the factory and stuff. And that's how I'm just like, it's all just useless. I mean, oh my, I just can't even, especially now. My goodness. Talk about, uh, yeah, Nahi. Is that how I say it? Nahi. Uh, we need a video about JDOM microbial pesticide. Yes, that video actually will not be coming. It will not be coming because it is a new thing that I'm not going to be experimenting with. So back in the day when JDOM first came out, when I was learning about it, 2016 maybe, 15, 16, I forget exactly now, uh, I was actively growing in California. Huge, huge scale. I mean, thousands of plants, several different greenhouses, several different properties in the mountains and stuff. So, greenhouse, indoor, full term outdoor, light deprivation in the greenhouse, all those different things. 24 hours a day, I was totally obsessed with the crops and growing. So I was experimenting with so many different things, learning. And that's how I learned all of these skills, really. And then, so by the time once all that collapsed and it was like, oh, you got to get out of there. So I had to get out of there and came back here and was like, well, I got all this knowledge that seemed useless at the time. It's like, what did I just spend all the last 7 years learning and 10 years doing and stuff? And it's like, well, you can apply it to growing your food as well, which we also were doing in the mountains. So I already had all that base of knowledge and experience and experimentations and stuff like that, trial and error, and then I knew what works. So I got to use all that stuff. Now I'm not in the same position anymore. I don't have that opportunity like I did at that time in life. I don't have, thousands of very, very high dollar plants to that have to be grown to the absolute maximum of their genetic potential. I don't have that anymore. I'm growing vegetables now for food, which is very easy compared to growing those plants. And so and there's no need. I don't need a microbial pesticide because, I mean, with this system now, the pests are just almost non-existent. Besides the cabbage moth, there is still, I've sprayed BT a couple of times. That's it, guys. This whole season, let me tell you a secret. This whole season, I didn't use anything. No, not even compost teas. I didn't have to use anything. Just the drip lines of water. That's it. And there is virtually no insects. I mean, it's unbelievable. There was a little bit of flea beetles in the beginning, but they all went away. And the plants are outgrowing everything. The grasshoppers, there's so many praying mantises back there that they just are. You see them eating grasshoppers all the time. I mean, I see praying mantises every time that I go out there and rustle around. You see praying mantises out there. And so no slugs. I have not seen a slug all year. I know. And if you watch my previous years of videos, I had slug infestations comparatively, where I had to use the ultimate slug solution and the JDOM, pest garlics and stuff like this. But since removing all the organic mulches, I no longer have any slugs. I mean, there's zero slug damage this year. And the cultivating, and it's the whole system. So it's so there's no need. I'm never going to like really be pressed to experiment with the JDOM microbial pesticide. If I was back then when it was all super high stakes, then and I had to make it happen, then okay, I would do that. But I'm not going to be doing that anymore. So, and there's no need because the goal is to only use what you absolutely have to. But if you do it all right and the soil is right, that's the key. You have to get the soil right for this to work. Then you don't need to really do anything. Some BT and maybe the ultimate slug solution. Those are about all that you're going to need. So that's my outtake on that. That's why we won't be doing that video. Yeah. Sorry guys, I had my kettlebell workout this morning and then wasn't able to drink my shake, so you just got to bear with me. It's amazing. Homemade kefir and 4 raw eggs and a whole handful of hemp hearts and of raw pumpkin seeds. Also a double serving of maca root powder. Also double serving of goat weed. Also ginseng. Also ginkgo biloba. I rotate them. I don't take them all the time, but they're actual herbs and actual leaves. They're not supplements. They're just actual herbs, powdered, dehydrated and powdered. And I'll just add a scoop of that. They're not capsules or anything. I'll just add a scoop of that to the shake here and there. Keeps you just feeling wonderful. Yeah, VA Green says being focused and willing to work hard goes a long way. Dude, that's everything, really. Willing to work hard, but in a smart way. Definitely. Willing to, but yeah, it's a whole different mentality. It's a whole different mentality. Dusty Flat says tech college is best unless you're heading for doctor or lawyer. Right, which even that, lawyers, I mean, think of how AI is radically transforming lawyers, and so many things are being transformed by this now. One thing that will not be transformed is the trades, though. I can tell you that. There's going to be a long time before AI threatens in any way the HVAC, the welders, the plumbers, the electrical, the electricians, roofers, things like this. As when I was in high school, that was looked down. Well, you don't want to just be a HVAC. You don't want to just be a welder. You want to go to college and be more with your life. But that we were sold an illusion. We were sold an illusion to make billions of dollars for the colleges and everybody involved with the whole pyramid scheme, the whole thing. And lo and behold, now, well, if everyone's in college and those jobs are looked down upon, who's going to install your heating and air? Who's going to fix your plumbing? Who's going to wire your house up? Who's going to roof your house? We forgot about that. So that's why there's like a huge gaping hole in those kind of jobs now. So, I mean, I would say, look, learn a trade. Electrician is so good. The whole world's going to be electrified. I mean, it already is. So learn to be an electrician. That would be a very good job to have. And then you can build your own thing on top of that. If you want to do something else for some years, work on that. And then you can just do your own thing once that gains enough momentum and you learn enough. But yeah. Yes. Queen RB says, I got 39 ears of Xanadu sweet Indian corn in a 4 by 5 foot block. I'd say 90 to 80% kernels formed. Was a bit too crowded, but super happy with first time growing corn. Nice, nice. Yeah, 4 to 5 foot block is not very big. It's not very big, but that's good though. Yeah, that's good. 80 to 90% is fine. Scott Miller, I know. Yeah, I think that I will for the Viking growing system, not for the Master Clan or the Viking Clans course, but for the growing system. I think we will definitely. Yes. There's also going to be an affiliate program, guys. So if you guys, once you get to a certain level on the in the community, you can start selling the course if you so desire. For good, I'll make it a lot. I'll make it well worth doing. Abu Yaqub says the fish fertilizer with the leaf mold. Can you speak on that for a minute or two? Yes. Now, I really hope that you're talking about the JDOM fish fertilizer because just forget about leaf mold IMO on the sugar, on the fish amino acids. Okay, just forget about that because I should have never put that in the video. People took it way out of context. They didn't understand that it was just a light dusting uh, to uh, to equate IMO. That's how I was using it, and not putting handfuls of leaf molds. People will send me pictures of their stuff. What do you think's wrong? And I'll see big twigs in there and acorns and leaves, and I'm like, that's not. They're like, well, you said put leaf mold in there. Well, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. If you go back and look, but anyways, I shouldn't have done that. So these are the things you learn as doing it. So, but the one that you do add leaf mold is the JDOM style, where you just put the fish and the leaf mold and the water, fill it up. Now, I have changed my methods. I've changed my methods with with all of the JDOM fertilizers. I no longer myself and I no longer recommend using it as it's decomposing. The whole JDOM thing is you can let it sit for about 3 weeks to a month and then start using it. And then just add more as you're using it and then blah blah blah. But I have found that is not good. I found that's not good. That is my experience, and the experience, that's just my experience. So what you really want to do though, and what we're doing at the Viking North plot for one of the future courses, the homemade fertilizer course, we are doing a whole barrel of fish. And so we are doing the JDOM method, but we are letting it sit. That's what you want to do. If you're doing fish, leaf mold, and water, you want to make that and let that sit until it's totally decomposed. Really, you want it, it's going to be a full year, maybe even 2 years before that stuff is fully ready to use. That's the drawback. If you want faster stuff, you can make fish hydrolysate, where you blend the fish up and you add the labs. That dramatically speeds it up. The process and the molasses, that dramatically speeds it up. But it's still going to smell not all that good for quite some time. Yeah. I forget what we must have been talking about. You're talking about Dr. Gundry. Tomatoes are trying to kill you. Drinking tomato juice is like drinking barbed wire. When I heard that, I thought, why do you have a platform? Or how can you be running an advertisement? It's like drinking barbed wire. Okay, well, something tells me you've never drank barbed wire or tomato juice, one of the two, because that is absolutely not the case. But everyone's got to make a name for themselves. You know, he's got to be the guy that's radically opposed to vegetables. You got to just eat meats and just eat the eyes of a certain type of cattle, you know, and all these specific things. And that's the way that our modern, you know, the human mind wants to get so specific about it. We're designed to thrive on a huge diversity of foods. I've traveled all over the world and I've seen cultures thriving, full vegetarian, almost full vegetarian. I mean, I can't say fully because even like in Sri Lanka, which is the most vegetarian place that I've been to, they still eat seafood constantly. I mean, constantly. And so, I mean, everything's got fish in it, fish or seafood constantly. So I've never seen just a fully vegetarian culture. There's some people within the culture for religious reasons are fully vegetarian, yes. But even then, they will still seafood, or eggs or certain things like that. But I've also seen cultures in the Khumbu region of Nepal, for example, that eat mostly just yak meat, yak cheese, and all different kinds of yak stuff. So, and they're all thriving, But what they all have in common is not the exact type of food that they're eating. What they all have in common is that it's all natural, it's all clean, that it's all not been tampered with. That's what it all has in common. Yeah, that's my thing too. Talk about, well, plants don't want to be eaten, so they develop plant defense compounds. Well, okay, well, does the animal want to be eaten? Because I think much more so the animal doesn't want to be eaten. And the plants, yeah, we call them poisonous plants and we don't eat them. But how could people position that as when they talk about, well, there's plant defense compounds and things like phytic acid and anti-nutrients and oxalates, and so they've developed that because they don't want to be eaten. That is such a stretch of the mind, such a stretch of logic, because how can you tell me that the plant knows? So that's the plant's defense compound. That, okay, in after several decades of the creature eating me, maybe 1% of people who regularly overconsume my plant tissue might develop kidney stones. That's its plant defense. I mean, okay, so after decades of use, you might develop calcium cysts or something way down the road. That's not a defense, okay? People position it that way because they got to make a name. They got to have an argument, They got to take a stand in some position. So we have to be able to see through all of that. And we have to say, okay, but run it through our critical thinking capabilities and it falls apart. Well, that doesn't make any sense, okay? Yes, some plants are, and we call them poisonous plants, and we don't eat them. Anyways. Oh, you're absolutely right. AK Froggy says, if you follow Dr. Gundry, you'll throw away everything in your garden. Right. Yeah, exactly. You'll throw away everything in your garden. Jay Brammer says, Nate, how did your early sweet potato picking go? How small or big were they? Not that bad. But so here's the thing, that it was a fresh garden in just clay soil. We didn't even do a cover crop, a green manure crop. We didn't do anything except till up the Indiana clay soil that was there and then planted them directly into that. So the plants grew wonderful, and there's a lot of potatoes, lots, but sweet potatoes require the softness. The best ones I ever grew were in those bags of pure leaf mold, huge sweet potatoes. And then in certain other areas, and I've grown them, they need a sandy soil. And so we're not going to grow them in that location next year. We're going to grow them a little bit further away in a sandier spot. So, and that's more their native, in tropical regions and stuff, and sort of sandier areas, because the sand doesn't hold on to nutrients as well as clay soils do as well. That's why it'll be a lot more benign. So they were pretty good. Zero scurf, of course, like we had last year, unfortunately. And a good harvest. They just weren't as big as they should have been. And they were kind of, because they were trying to force themselves through that clay, and it wasn't really working out. But we'll see. We'll see. Next year will be a lot better. So, guys, these are the Ivarsky peppers. So if I was only going to grow one pepper, one sweet pepper, it would be the Ivarsky for sure, because they're delicious as sweet peppers. They're thick. If you could feel this right now, super thick. All right, and very sweet, and they smoke really well. You can put them in a pipe. No, I'm kidding. You can put you can put them in the smoker. You can put them in the Weber kettle or in the electric smoker with apple wood. Oh man, any kind of smoke. Once you core them. Oh wait, yeah, that's right. Let me show you guys something, man. I'm so glad that I got this opportunity because this thing blew my mind this year. I don't know if you guys have spent countless, I mean literally countless hours de-stemming these in life. So when I make let's see here. Okay, let me get the knife. When I make a pepper thing, I will take out the seeds if it's a sweet pepper, because the seeds are one second. The seeds of these kind will taste like paint. I mean, they kind of get old and they sort of spoil way before the actual flavor. You know, they influence the flavor of the paprika too much. Unless you need the seeds, like from the fish peppers, which I'll talk about. A hot pepper needs the seeds because that's where most of the heat is concentrated. Okay, but so these guys, have you had one of these? Do you have one of these? Okay, I've spent so much time coring these and de-seeding them. Now let's see. Now watch, it's not going to work this time, but let's see. Okay, so we just take this thing and ooh, yes, let's see here. Let us see here. Ooh, Gary Smith, $25. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the contribution. There's a question here, so let's see. Says okay, Gary says, what thickness fabric do you use? I use 5 ounce, and water seemed to sit on top and made it hard to fertilize, but no weeds except in the hole around the plant. Plus, I think I need to make holes bigger. Love no weeds. I'm a work smarter, not harder type of person. Definitely makes sense. Yes. So there's several ways. Now, you will see in the Viking Growing System course why we put the drip lines under the fabric. So we put the drip lines under the fabric. Now, the 5 ounce is good. Now, I will have links to the right stuff. There's so many different kinds, and I've used many different kinds, and most of them are actually kind of garbage. If you want the good stuff, it just pays to get the good stuff. It really does. And you'll use it for several seasons. But yeah, it just happens that way. Water can sit on top of it, yeah. But if you look underneath, things are getting, wet enough, definitely. At Viking Dad's plot, we watered with a sprinkler, and it still goes in pretty well with this stuff. And even at the Viking North plot, a couple of times we had to water with a sprinkler, and it gets in there. Yeah, it gets in there. But if you try to hand water, if you try to like water with a wand, no, it will look virtually impenetrable. It will just like all run off because it will not absorb that kind of water. It will absorb rainwater where it's just, where it's more even or more slow and consistent over a longer period of time. But no, if you just have like a hose, it will just all run off. It won't work like that. So you got to put drip lines underneath. Yeah. There was also one more. Let's see here. Nancy Dewald, $10. Thank you, my friend. I'm so happy that you're here all the time. Says to have a happy day. So thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate the consistent contributions. I do. So guys, this, okay? I know it seems ridiculous, but look, this used to take me a long time. So we're just going to put it there, and we're going to twist it like that. You hear that? Right? You hear that? Look at that. Look at that. The whole thing, okay? The whole thing. Now, this thing, now you could stuff it with something if you wanted to, but, okay, see, now it didn't quite this time. It typically, now watch, I will take this. And it typically even, see, it almost wanted to, but it will typically get this out of there too. It'll pull these long strings out of there too. I just didn't twist it quite enough. But still, that is so much easier. And now we'll just, like that. And now we've got this flayed open. And here is how we'll do it. We'll put them on the grill or on the smoker, whatever you're using. Indirect heat, of course, on the grill if we're smoking them. Cut side up like this. And that will make it so that the juices concentrate like a little bowl, and they'll become really smoky and super flavorful. So the Ivarski is such a dual purpose pepper. You can eat it fresh, you can smoke it, and it holds on to the flavor so well. And once it's smoked and dehydrated, here's how it looks. And it's just really, really delicious. Holds that smoky flavor wonderfully well. Yeah. So this is pretty much the ideal pepper. I mean, I don't know what more you really would want from a pepper. So nice and sweet, nice and sweet. Yep. So that is the single best all-around pepper, is the Ivarski. There's no doubt about that. Now, other ones though, the HMS Red Picnic pepper is much sweeter. It's sweeter pretty much than any other pepper there is. It is really deliciously sweet. Just a nice sweet pepper. It's only this big though. So, you know, they're pretty much for fresh eating. When you grill them, it kind of, they need to be crunchy. They need to have that nice crunchy flavor to them, that crunchy texture. When you grill them, they're not really so good. I mean, they're still pretty good, but these hold up really well to grilling. But the other ones, they kind of lose their amazingness. Sean Barrett, can I still spray guano on my buds through October? I wouldn't. I mean, because obviously you're going to be harvesting in October, right? I wouldn't. Even from now on, I would not spray anything on the actual flowers. Otherwise, you risk really affecting the flavor. You know, I wouldn't. Yeah. I would do just on the ground at this point, just on the soil at this point. Big Will Dog says, Nate, will the gardening courses have a discounted cost at first like the current one did early on? I don't know. I don't really know. I'm not sure about that though, because there's going to be so much useful knowledge in there. And there's other factors. There's other factors. There's a whole technique to doing courses as well, with the software and the algorithms and stuff like this. So it's you know, all things that we're learning. But that being said, you know, I will hook it up in some way for the Inner Circle tribe. Yeah. Let's see here. Yes. So the thing about the peppers is that the just sweet, all right? The just sweet hybrid pepper, super, super sweet as well. I mean, very deliciously sweet, surprisingly productive as well. The plants took quite a while to catch on, but I mean, there's like 50 of them out there now, and they have been, you know, real small seed cavity like that. So these make great for like Greek salad, you know, just tomatoes, onions, peppers, feta cheese, olive oil, and oregano. That's about it. But see, these very, very, see, it tastes like a fruit. It's citrusy and bright and clean. It just tastes like fruit. I mean, it's crazy how these are. We will definitely be growing these next year. And the plants are like 6 feet tall. The plants are enormous. Let's go ahead and eat this one, because I know you guys like to hear me chomping on stuff. Again, pretty small cavity inside. Not really bad at all. So, let's see, whoops. And we will do like, okay, so we're going to take off the side here. A different kind of sweetness. Much thinner. This one's nice and thick and blocky. And man, these we've really liked. Putting up, like dicing them and then putting them in certain dishes at the very end. You want to put, like in stir fries and stuff, you want those peppers at the end to preserve their sweetness and their flavor. Really good. Yeah, that was the Ivarski, definitely. Now, different than the Lute Shower. The Lute Shower is a Hungarian spicy paprika, and the flesh is actually tastes like butter. I mean, it tastes like there's butter, like it's been soaked in butter. The flesh of this kind of tastes like an Ivarski that's been soaked in butter, but the seeds are blazing hot, and like a hot kind of hot. All right, not like the fish peppers, which are hot, but the heat comes on and goes off really quickly. So even in between bites, it dies down. This stuff, oh my goodness. When someone sent these to us last year, it might have been Meyer Lemons, and we didn't know anything about them. Oh, Hungarian paprikas. So we throughout the season we will eat these fresh. We'll put these on the grill, get the flesh just a little bit charred, and then just eat them like that. Here's a pro tip, something that Tegan helped us figure out by accident one day. If you take a sprig of rosemary and put it in the center and then put it on the grill, and the juices concentrate, wow. And then remove the rosemary and eat it. It's so fresh. You get the scent of rosemary with a nice sweet peppered char. It's just amazing. So we were treating this like that. We're like, oh, sure, we'll just put it on the grill. So we put it on the grill and then took a bite, took the first bite. It was like, oh, nice, a little bit sweet. And then took another bite and got a mouthful of the seeds. And we almost threw up. It was just like, what? Oh my God. I mean, ruined the whole meal. It's all you could taste. The entire meal was just blazing hot, blow your socks off spice. And it was like, this is horrible. Oh my goodness. But the flesh, so why am I growing it again? The flesh is so delicious. And what it makes is so delicious, it's worth it. Because here's what you do. You take it and you cut them in half and you knock out a little bit of their seeds. You let the seeds kind of fall out and you dehydrate them. Okay? You dehydrate them like this and you store them, and then you grind up only what you need. And do you see how much lighter the color is? Because the seeds are in there. Now you grind up only what you need, and guys, it is so flavorful. Hold on. Whew, yeah, see, it's spicy. Even smelling it is spicy. But when you cook it, when you just use a spoonful, it doesn't have like a bunch of spice. It's interesting. So this is super good. And this is like quite a bit. If we blended up this whole thing, we'd only get probably half this. I mean, like this much maybe. That's how much it concentrates down. So we've got several of these, up in the cupboard. That's how you want to do it though, guys. So good like that. Abu Yakub, I asked you a question, Nate. Well, you must be new around here, my friend, because you just got to keep asking it. It's not like we're all just sitting in a room having a conversation. there's like a comments and comments, and I got to read through, and you guys are talking to each other and all kinds of other things, so just keep asking it. That's how you got to do these. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. OG Crypto Daniel. That crunch though, I know. Yeah, this is Shawnee Grows. Very good right there. Yeah, very good. So guys, one thing that I like to do with the Ivarsies is to make the arroz pista. And so this is a, wow. It's fermented. It's just the Ivarskis with a few lute showers. Now, it got a little, I mean, the Ivarskis are full of liquid. So we're actually I'm going to let them separate this next time and then just drain off the liquid and see how that goes. I want to make just like a fermented pepper mash that's slightly spicy that I can use in cooking over the summer or over the winter. Because guys, peppers make the flavor. I mean, peppers make a huge difference in flavor. So most people don't realize what a big difference the peppers make in there. So this is really good. But man, I'm telling you, it's been fermenting since the 6th. And it's like a, wow. Oh, so good. So savory and complex and tangy from the ferment and salty as well. Just umami flavored. I mean, like really gets almost like steak sauce flavor, kind of feeling of steak sauce, like back in the jaw. Really delicious. Mm-hmm. Now, here's 2 huge fails from Fruition Seeds. These are just like really beautiful looking peppers that taste like absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing. They just taste like bitter water. So we'll not be growing these again. Even though they're really cool looking and they produced a boatload, they're just terrible. So won't be growing those again. Those are the violet sparkles. That's what they are. Violet sparkles, I think. Now, one pepper that we love growing is the Jimmy Nardellos. We like growing them because of how they caramelize. They're good for, you know how you caramelize onions, how it changes when you caramelize the onions, the flavor? The Jimmy Nardello is similar. So they're real thin, super sweet, real thin, and they caramelize really well. So we just made some stir-fried bok choy last night to have with the steak and the rice. So and then I had about 5 of these that I chopped up real fine, and then garlic, ginger, 1 fish pepper, 1 ripe fish pepper, and then about 5 of these, and let it, in the stir fry. Let it really marinate for a while in the oils, pure lard, and pasture raised lard, high in vitamin D. And then we put the bok choy in there. Stems first for about 2 minutes, maybe 1 to 2 minutes, and then all the leaves. And then let it get in there. Then a splash of rice vinegar, a splash of the soy sauce, and once it's all done, a small drizzle of the toasted sesame oil. So delicious. I mean, yeah, so good. So hopefully you guys are doing all that. Yes. So Jay says the lemon drop peppers taste like perfume. Some people like them. I don't. Yeah, it's kind of like the cilantro thing. Some people are like, oh, it tastes like salt or soap. I've never tasted that. I love cilantro. But this is the lemon drop pepper. Yes. See how it's separating just a little bit? But I think it just tastes amazing. Like a very, very bright citrus flavor. Oh, yeah. Man, still tastes like that. There still smells like that taco bar ingredients. Look, you see the bubbles? It's like fermenting. The bubbles are coming out. Wow, yeah. It's just so savory. It smells like taco bar / steak sauce. slash all kinds of things. If you're wondering what that is on top, it's a thin piece of parchment paper. Keeps the oxygen off the surface. It's good for pepper mashes so that you don't have to, so that the top doesn't get exposed to the oxygen. If it gets exposed, it will mold. It will mold the surface interface. Or you can go another route and you can just shake it every single day, like we do this multiple times in the morning, at night. I'll just shake it so that everything is in the fermenting liquid, and then no molds grow on that. So several ways to do it. Yes. Here's what we do with the cayennes. This is pure cayenne. Even some of the green ones, perfectly fine. We had to dehydrate the first batch. So with spicy peppers, you leave the seeds. You leave the seeds in all of them. And then we will use that, grind it up like 1 month at a time. What we will use within a month. That's the way to do it. Movina, I saved lots of seeds, of course, over the years, but many of them I get from Baker Creek seeds. Also, I will get some from Urban Farmer seeds. Also, bulk seeds I will get from True Leaf Market. Like this kind of seeds, the crimson clover or the winter rye, I like to get from True Leaf Market, 25 pounds at a time. Yep. Guys, have you ever used one of these? These things are awesome. I have like a real small one out there, but then this one I just got recently, and I've only used it a couple times. But it's one by Raid, the company, the bug killing company, and it's way more powerful. This thing, I turned it on the other day, and there was a mosquito in here. I swiped it around. I couldn't see the mosquito. I swiped it around, and it was like, it was like. It smelled like burnt hair. I mean, that thing popped. A big spark, and it was toast. I mean, it was not messing around. So, highly recommend that, the Raid brand. Yes, Scott Miller says rosemary mop. Definitely very good to do. Infuses the flavor, huh? Jay Brammer, what makes a good cowboy candy? Because I've only made cowboy candy with jalapenos, and it's really good. But I guess I've never tried using any other kind. I mean, cowboy candy, if you make it right, is like they say, candy. I mean, it's so balanced that you can eat even though it's blazing hot peppers, it's so balanced with the sugars and the vinegars that it's like candy. It's amazing. Oh, nice. Shawnee Gross says, some of you know me. I am a gardener in Minnesota. I grow at a property away from my home, 11 gardens, different purposes. I am working on 1,000 subs if anyone wants to help. Yes, I don't know if everyone knows this, but Shawnee Grows has a channel as well. So definitely check her out. Seen some interviews with people on her channel. So definitely check out her channel. Also, our friend Big Will Dog has a channel. So definitely check his channel out as well. Yep, all part of the tribe. Matt, what can I use to get rid of aphids? Use the ultimate slug solution. That will desiccate them. That will dry them out. So I hope I didn't take that video down. I might have. The ultimate slug solution that I use, that's what you want to do. Really, you can just mix. Okay. So you could mix in 1 gallon of water, you could mix 2 or even 3 ounces of the Jadam wetting agent or Dr. Bronner's peppermint Castile soap. We'll say if it's Bronner's, 2 ounces. We're talking about if there's a real infestation. Use 2 ounces of Dr. Bronner or the wetting agent, and then 1 teaspoon of pure sodium hydroxide, which is lye. They sell it as lye, or you should have sodium hydroxide. Well, it's in the video, I think, where to get it, but they sell it at like Home Depot and stuff like that. So 1 teaspoon. Don't go over that though. Okay. Spray that directly on them in the evening when there's no chance of sunlight. And if it makes contact with them, good contact, they will all desiccate and be gone. Yeah. Okay, it was Jay. All right, thank you. Yes, I sent you the Jimmy Nardello's, Letsia, and the spicy Hungarian. Yes, that's right. So the Letsia pepper, I was not that thrilled with. I mean, they were big and blocky and lots of flesh, but they just weren't that. Some people like the sweetest pepper ever created. I did not think so. I did not at all. This one, the Just Sweet or the HMS Red Picnic, way sweeter. Way, way, way sweeter. It pretty much don't get sweeter than these peppers. So the Jimmy Nardello is definitely sweet as well, but the flesh is so thin. That's why it makes it good for like sautéing and caramelizing, because there's not much crunch. The skin is so thin. Very sweet though. But these, man, the crunch with these things is out of this world. Huh. It's amazing. So, yes. Abu Yaqub, have you ever heard of anyone growing their vegetables indoors? Tomatoes, string beans, peppers. Yeah, you can. Well, if you have a greenhouse indoors, that's the best way to do it. But if you're talking about growing them like in a windowsill and stuff, it doesn't really work. Herbs you can, some leafy greens you can, but you can grow tomatoes and beans and peppers indoors, but the light requirements would make it totally cost prohibitive. You would need you would need hundreds of dollars in lighting alone, and then you would need to ventilate that lighting. Then you would need to the temperature. I mean, there's so many things involved. So the best way, if you want to grow things indoors, grow microgreens and sprouts, because microgreens are so quick and they don't require, they just require very, very minimal light in compared to something like a tomato or a pepper or a string bean. That requires a tremendous amount of light energy. So it could be done with like some 1,000-watt high pressure sodium lights, or some, like the Mars Hydro 3000, LED lights, but you're going to be consuming hundreds of dollars worth of electricity over the course of the plant's life. So it wouldn't be worth it. So it can be done, but don't waste your time. Grow microgreens, or if you really want to grow stuff, bok choy. Bok choy, shijimisa, spinach, those kind of things can grow well inside. But microgreens is all you need. High turnover. There's no chance of things getting, pests and stuff like that, because the turnover is so fast. It's only maximum a couple weeks, and then they're gone. And so that's the way to do it. Microgreens. Yep. So, Jay Bremer says, I mix lute showers and jalapenos to make cowboy candy. Nice. All right, guys. Thank you for everything. And if you guys want to get up on the Viking cleanse, you can. Link is in the description. And do all of your shopping on Amazon through the Viking storefront. Definitely. That is still a thing. And I constantly put new things in there. So, look, nice of you to join us. Look to nature. I don't think I've seen you all here. Alim Hussein says, hey, Viking looking thin day by day. Take care. Well, thank you. Yes, I assume that's wonderful. So, okay, so guys, um, hmm yeah, okay, all right, I just gotta stop reading the questions. All right, guys, we will see you next week. All right, thank you guys very much for everything. We'll be right here, same time next week.